All right.
Commissioners, my name is Matt Olson with Bannock County Juvenile Justice. I'd like to introduce Dan Montgomery. He is our newest supervisor over the Intensive Services Unit. The request that we have today for the commission actually involves property within the Intensive Services Unit, so if it's okay with the commission, I'd like Dan to present that request.
Great. Thank you, Commissioners. We have some items that we need to dispose of in the appropriate manner from the program that's in the second floor above the elections office. We have an old washer and dryer and refrigerator. Are we doing the refrigerator?
Well, we'll propose it.
Okay.
They can determine if they want to do
All right.
something.
We took the necessary steps. We had computer services send out a county-wide email, see if anybody wanted those items. In those items, there was a folding table, and Public Defender's Office took that one. And so we were left with these three items. They have been replaced with brand-new items through some Title I funds through School District 25. School District 25 was able to replace those items for us with brand-new items. Their money was roughly $3,457 that they provided for us to replace those items. So we're at the point now that we believe that we could seek approval to have them go to the auction, or if there was a use within another department, that we could take it to that department.
Well, the refrigerator, is it working?
It does work. It's older, and it's a fridge freezer, and the below section is the refrigerator, and the door doesn't always want to stay shut. So it always takes a swift kick occasionally, like an old TV or something. But it does work, and it could still have use. We just felt like we had the opportunity to replace it with something more efficient and newer. So it could be used. It just would take some attention to keep that door shut.
Well, I asked Shanda and Christy this morning, there's a mini fridge down in the commissioner's office. And if it's usable, I mean, we have activities and stuff that we go pick up foods. And that mini fridge isn't big enough to utilize. And so I figured that we could probably just move that into the extra room there, and it could be utilized. Other than that, the washer and dryer, I haven't heard or seen of any
We don't have needs for that in the commissioner's
needs
office.
for it.
We like to wear dirty clothes in the commissioner's office.
That's how things are going at home. That's
Yeah.
Any comments? Ask for a motion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we authorize the Juvenile Detention Center to get rid of the washing machine and the clothes dryer and transfer the refrigerator to the commissioner's office.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And thanks for coming, presenting.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll work on a delivery date on that fridge with Christy.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
It'll probably be Dan, won't it?
I'm hoping. Dan Kendall, is that
There-
right?
yeah. There's two Dans in maintenance, and there's two Dans over here at YDC.
Yeah, I gotta save this Dan's back, so we'll get it coordinated.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Emma.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Emma Iannacone, Public Information Officer, here to provide another update on the internal policy or guideline for the use of the Bannock County logo and seal. Last week, I brought a rough draft of this to the board and had some good feedback on what should be updated or changed. So in the version that I sent to the agenda request system, had some highlighted portions that were updated since last week that I wanted to address. At the request of Commissioner Moser, I have updated the language to say that the seal must be used with approval from the county commissioners rather than permission. And then I also added a line there that says, with the exception of Bannock County elected officials. And that way, for instance, when Clerk Dixon is sending out jury summons or election notices, that kind of thing, he doesn't need to go before the board. He's an elected official. So I provide some examples as well as to what would be acceptable usage as well as unacceptable usage, such as lobbying or campaign materials for running for re-election, that kind of thing. And then below that, oh, I'll stop here for any questions.
Does that mean I can use it for like our formal budget books and stuff
Right.
like that?
We I can use either however I choose for any of my offices.
Mhm.
I just want to
It's
make sure I
just-
don't need
yeah.
to say, hey, I'm doing my budget book, do I need
No.
permission? I can
No.
just do it.
But you've talked to
Yeah,
your
we
elected
always talk
official.
about it, but
Okay.
yeah.
That's the key. And that's the discussion we had in the elected officials meeting the first time we
Right.
talked about this.
Yeah, I didn't want that to be a barrier for any elected officials. And then also in this, where it mentions that, it says it should be used in a manner consistent with the guidelines outlined. So that's just to ensure that when they are using it, they're not stretching it, they're not changing colors, etc. Okay, and then that next paragraph where it says news and media organizations may lawfully use the official seal of Bannock County as a stock image to accompany news stories related to official Bannock County business when appropriate. This was something that Commissioner Crowder brought to my attention, that it didn't have, this policy didn't have anything laid out that addressed, news organizations. They're allowed to use images in their stories, and there isn't, he referenced a Supreme Court or a court decision that made that standard across the nation. So I wanted to include something in there as well. And then I go on to say, however, if possible, the news or media organization should use the official logo instead of the seal. Let me see if Brian had a chance to look it over, but I'm sure he has. And then from there, I have the ordinance that was created in 2022 for the use of the seal. Any questions about this first part?
No.
Okay. Going on to the official logo, I added a line here that says employees of Bannock County may use the logo with approval, again, by the public information officer, and should be used in a manner consistent with the below guidelines. Outside organizations such as private entities, other government agencies, nonprofits, etc., may use the logo with approval from the public information officer. And then at the discretion of the PIO, use of the logo may require Board of County Commissioners approval. So, for example, if Bannock County Republicans or Bannock County Democrats come to me and ask if they can use the seal for any material that they're sending out, that would be something that I would bring before the board for your input. And then pretty
You mean the
much,
seal or the logo?
this is for the logo. So private entities
Right.
and other organizations.
The one you just talked about with the political parties, you meant the logo, because you
The
said
logo.
seal, I think, but you meant
Yes,
logo,
I
right?
misspoke.
Okay.
Logo. And then, yeah, pretty much for the rest of the outline is just based on formatting of the seal, appropriate uses, and it hasn't really changed much since last week when we spoke.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns, comments?
I like the changes.
Call for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we approve the logo guidelines as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'd like to say congratulations on the win
Thank
over the weekend.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Are you going to be doing a press release on that?
I've been going back and forth about it. Feels weird to toot my own horn, but I have seen in the past when the former PIO for the city has won those awards, he's put out press releases for it, so
I think you should put out a
Let's move forward.
okay, all right, I will toot
And
my
you're
own
not tooting your own horn. You're representing Bannock County in a very positive direction.
and you have 3 other winners, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Shanda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shanda Crystal, purchasing, nope, sorry, Chief Procurement Officer. I've got a couple updates for the board today. I'd like to start with the concealed weapons detection on the courthouse upgrade. That draft has been submitted to their team for review. So once we get comments from the group, then we'll make any adjustments there and then send it off to legal for final approval. On the fairgrounds, the shift that we made from the pole barn to the steel structure is well underway, and that has also been submitted to legal for review. We were hoping to have that go live Friday, Monday, something right in there in the next couple days. We'll have that issued out, and we've got about 6 different companies that we'll send that directly out to, that they'll be invited to participate as part of that bid. The drug testing services, we did receive 2 bids, and those are under evaluation. After being evaluated by the group and meeting with them a couple days ago, they have decided that they would like to exercise the interview option and bring those 2 companies in and really get a feel and an understanding of how they would move forward. Making that switch from one company to the next, they want to make certain that Bannock County is headed in the right direction and doing it as most cost-effective way possible. They want to make sure that their clientele doesn't have to switch once and then switch again and switch back, and so they want to bring them in for interviews. Those will be scheduled 2 weeks from now, and we'll bring those in. After those interviews, we should have a recommendation before the board of how they would like to move forward. In regards to an architectural services for the Forensic Pathologist Center remodel, we have received a contract from the apparent winner, and that is under review. As soon as we can get that, it has not been submitted to legal yet, but as soon as we can get that submitted to legal, we'll have a recommendation and a contract for the board to review and decide on approving. And the last one that I've got for you is the landfill expansion lighter. Kyle and his crew was able to meet with the contractor and the engineer firm last week. That project did pick back up this week. They felt that it was dry enough to start moving forward, but that is a slow, muddy process. So they do anticipate somewhere in the middle of June, hoping to wrap that one up and to be able to be complete. Are there any questions or concerns with any of the other projects?
That's good.
Great.
Along this line, I noticed in my emails this morning, we received notice that this street out here, 6th, is now Bannock County property. And so that'll be something that we need to start looking at, and as we're looking at projects, what we need to do out there. So
I did have, as Kerry Hong met on the drug testing one, he did ask about the renovations that we were doing to that entrance off of 6th Street. And I couldn't quite remember who had been tasked with drawing something to, I thought that's, I can remember it was Hal or Dan. Because then we did talk about as the district court was going to come in and make some recommendations, that potentially they could make recommendations on that revision as well.
yeah,
So
I'm part of it. Hal's been working on this, getting that road vacated for a while, and he's the one that sent that email.
as part of that remodel. Gotcha.
Part of the discussion on it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, looks like Kyle.
Kyle Burmester, Bannock County Public Works.
Dylan Evans, Assistant Operations Manager for Bannock County Solid Waste.
Congratulations.
Kathy Duffy, Noxious Weed Superintendent.
We got a few things before you today. First off, we'll go with the rentals. We have landfill compost rental. Ever since we've went through COVID, we've actually picked up on compost, and it's been great. It's pays for itself and makes sense. So it's been a good deal. So we usually end up using that for about a week. So I have the rental down as a week. We have this budgeted in our compost line as a rental, or in our rental line. It's going to be around $2,500. We've actually finally found, we look around on all of these and post it, an email, and kind of go out for quotes whenever we do these and get the cheapest one. We were paying around $7,000 to get our compost, and we found this deal. We have to go a little farther to get it. It's out of Provo, but it's $2,500. So
Ask for a motion on that one.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the rental contract as presented.
Motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Second one is another screen rental. This is a screen for gravels, aggregates. We use this at Road and Bridge. This is where we get our sand. We screen out other rocks while we're doing it, so we get our product of sand, but then we're also getting product ready for crushing into different things like 3/4 or chips or something like that. So what it does is screens off a couple sizes of rocks. Final product, sand, that's where we get our sanding material for the winter, and then we also screen out them other materials that we utilize for the roads. We're looking at going for 2 months with this, and it's at 13.5, I think is what it was. We also, per month, we also went out, and the closest one, usually there's a pretty good difference in each price, and this time it was only about $600 difference. These were the lowest, and we've used them in the past, and they've worked really good with us.
So there's a screen fee charge of $600 and then $1,200 per month?
I think it's just, so it's 600 per week or 1,200 per month.
Yeah, 1,200 per month. So what we do is, it's not just a rental on the screen, it's them screen decks have 3 screen decks or 2 screen decks, and we have to buy the screens that are in there.
Okay.
So we're purchasing the screens, and that's if we need them. We have some that fit this machine from last year. So
Okay.
that price isn't, that's just there if we have to. There might be a screen that we have to purchase if one of ours is worn out.
So, I guess, I'm a little confused on the total price then. Because
So
up here
if
in
you look up
paragraph
prior
2,
in 2, it says 15.3.
15.3, and then down here it says $1,200 per month. I mean,
That's what their screen fees are if we need them.
okay.
Because I thought it said it on here, but there's a cleaning fee also in case we give it to them uncleaned, that they'll charge us a clean fee of like $600. Oh, up higher, $100 or $650 for a clean fee. These are things that they put in there in case we don't do it,
Okay.
that they will charge us them amounts.
So, yeah, so the 2 different prices was, one was the screen, the other one is the machine.
Yes.
So,
So we're purchasing, or not, we're renting the machine for 15.3. They have put them other prices in there just to cover their stuff if we do something, break something, or wear out something.
okay. Questions?
Has this been to legal?
This one? No.
Okay. We'll go ahead and send it to legal then, and then put it on the agenda for Tuesday. How does that affect your timeline?
It affects it because we're trying to get that here as fast as we can, because the guys are gonna be ready to start screening before we go to our next project, but.
Can we approve a pending legals review? That way it doesn't have to come back to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, in glancing at it, I don't see any glaring issues. Just confusion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the power screening agreement as presented pending legal's approval.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Kyle, can you let me know when you pick up both of those? Because we need to add on to insurance.
Yeah,
So just email.
and then these have that amount that we have to
Yep.
insure them.
We'll just copy this with it.
Yes.
Just email them to Caitlin and I both.
Okay.
And then when you return it, make sure you notify us, we can take it off the insurance.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Looks like you're up, Kathy.
So what this is we're not looking for any commissioners' signatures on this. So this has kind of been brought up in the past, and we're trying to work with the other counties and with this CWMA to where we get you guys the information each year, because how it's set up is that longer document is what the CWMA and it's the applicant and the facilitator, which is not Bannock County, that's this group. They sign all that. These other counties don't sign it. And then this is what I bring in, like last year, this MOU is they will only sign it if there's a change. But to me, I know the commission is like to know, you know, each year what's out there. So I had you guys sign this last year, but no one else would sign it because all the rest of the county said, yeah, if you want to get that information out to your commission, that's fine, but we're not having them re-sign it unless there's an update or an amendment to it, and it just keeps going on each year. So that's where we're at again this year. So I don't know, I guess I'm looking for recommendations how the commission would like that information brought to them each year.
So you're saying that none of these other counties have signed? I mean, there is a signature page.
No, this is just the blank, I gave you the blank copies. The MOU is what you signed last year, and I couldn't get them to sign, and they are not signing it this year.
Franklin County Commissioner, one commissioner does sign because Franklin County is the actual facilitator. So they signed, but it's an agreement.
Not the MOU.
Yes. The MOU hasn't changed since 2019 when Caribou County came aboard.
Okay.
So, and the other one, the bigger document, and that's why I didn't really send it to legal either, is because we don't sign any of them.
But we participate.
We participate, yes, and you can get out at any time. You can drop out of it. You're not liable for anything as far as we can.
Okay.
None of it's in Bannock County's name.
Page 16 says is the acceptance page.
So
and
that's.
And it's asking for us
60,000.
a signature.
But that's through Franklin County.
They hold the money. Franklin County holds the money for it. In our part of the agreement of what we put in through the Department of Ag is one spray day in Cottonwood, and then for $50,000, which is cost shared back to the residents of the county, of Bannock County through weed spray.
So any of our match or anything with this is labor, whether it's the private party's labor or ours. So the free day, it says 5,000, but we charge that for our labor going there, so it's not a cash.
But you can't exchange anything without a signature from a commissioner. You don't have the authority or the rights to send our people anywhere without a signature from the commissioners. So it is an agreement, in my opinion.
Well, that's where I was at, is I feel, and that's what we're trying to push to this association, is how do you go year to year and just not like have an update, okay, we're agreeing with this and we sign.
Well, was it 3 years ago, 2 years ago, that Franklin County wasn't, I mean, there was problems in being paid and things going on, and with Utah.
That was with the Portneuf Soil and Water when they were a facilitator. I think it's been probably, well, we had Portneuf Soil and Water was our facilitator at one time, and so Franklin County Soil and Water was for many years.
But yeah,
We
there
have
was,
switched out of that, and so one year we did not get the program because of that. And then last year we were back with the program, but we have a new facilitator, which is Franklin County.
but there was an issue once upon a time with the bookwork.
Yeah.
Yes.
And which facilitated the change to Franklin County, right?
Yes.
But there's, if you don't sign anything, what obligates you to do any reporting?
Well, we
Of
don't,
the- Well, no, you have to report the match on the hours, right?
yes, but that's to the
Department of
Ag.
Ag. Because that's where the funding comes from, is from the Department of Ag.
So we keep all that data and we send that to the Department of
So you report that
Ag.
to the ag, even though the chemicals are bought by
They're bought by
the grant,
Department of Ag money.
but through Franklin.
Correct. Through the agreement that what we
Through the
put in
joint-
for it.
But if you don't sign off on anything, why do you do it?
'Cause
There's
we-
nothing obligating you to, right?
There's nothing obligating us to, but we get money
We
in
get, we get.
spray because of it.
$60,000 for our county.
For our residents. which
By
keeps them off the
being
back.
in this group, we can't do it alone. You have to be involved with,
But if we don't have something signed with them, what says that they have to give us the money or they have to give us the spray?
so,
It's through the UNI, and we put in that paperwork, you'll see where Bannock County put in for $10,000 for cottonwood spray day,
Uh-huh.
and then $50,000 for chemical for the constituents of Bannock County to cost share out.
And I
and
know.
they're applying for that.
But who says that they apply for it and then don't give it to us? What's the guarantee that it's coming to us if we don't have a signature with a contract with them?
That it's on,
The Department of Ag will monitor that, and that is how Franklin Soil and Water got in the predicament that they got into, is because they did, I don't know exactly what they did wrong, but they did do something wrong.
And then what happens if we don't spray cottonwood and we spray somewhere else?
We have to spray
We ha-
cottonwood.
so,
But not if you don't have a contract.
well,
We do have a
that's,
contract.
that's what.
No, we don't, because we don't have a signature.
Only the commission can bind the county.
Yeah. I don't
Just
know.
because you guys.
That's
do something doesn't mean it's
that's my
gonna happen.
question, is,
That's why I bring it before you, because the other ones don't even take it to their commission and.
well, and I don't care what the others do. Brian, this is where I'm gonna turn to you. If it's a contract, it has to be signed, in my
I mean, I'm
opinion.
looking like, it's looking like an MOU, right? Like a memorandum of
I would
understanding
think they
with
should do an
Franklin
MOU every year,
And
and
I-
with that stating what the new thing for that year is,
I mean,
what
I-
you're going to do that year.
You're gonna spray a different spot, you're not gonna spray cottonwood every year.
You
Yeah,
spray it for 5 years, so that you can get a handle on it, so that you can see the difference. That's why we did that.
That's why the 2024 date.
That's, and each year you put in, because the Department of Ag does not know whether they will have the funding to help all of the entities as well. The other aspect to it is, and I'm just repeating what I was taught. I honestly, I'm not a legal person, so I honestly don't know, but the other part to it is that in your noxious weed law, you have to have a working, work with parties with your participating entities, such as the BLM, Forest Service, and the other county borders. So this all entails that, to show that you are doing what you can in the fight of noxious weeds.
So that brings up another question, because we didn't sign a contract, was it with BLM or the Forest Service last year?
so what it's done is if you go back to these main agreements, not the MOUs, but the main agreement is their permit they're applying for. So that's why it's the CWMA and Franklin County. They're doing that, but so they do that once a year to try to get the money. So we don't even know if we have it yet anyways. So they try to get it, but there's a master agreement when we started with this CWMA that all the commissions at that time signed off, and so we have that document too. I'd have to get that. Yeah, so they're just running off of that, but it goes back to these things where you had this contract that a commission had signed, like, we'll just keep going to the next year if there's no changes, but then it's gone far enough that you guys don't even know what's going on.
Well, I certainly appreciate you bringing it to us, because my preference is a year-to-year contract, not these long-term ones. And I agree with Ernie, there's nothing that binds us to spray cottonwood or whatever unless there's something in writing that everybody agrees to. So I'll defer to Brian as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the top, it says between the Bannock County Noxious Weed Control Right as, I mean, an MOU usually need a signature. So that's saying, hey, we have an understanding that this is how we're gonna go forward. I don't know how the other counties are doing it with an MOU, if they're just not having it signed or not, but it's always been best practice that if the county is going to be involved in any agreement or contract, that it has a signature, so we have a paper trail and we kind of know what's going on.
Well, that's been a requirement since I've been here.
Well, I appreciate the agreement because then I know what's happening. And I know too, because I have to journal entry in all the activity, because we send the invoices to Franklin County and they buy the chemicals for us directly. So if I don't know there's an agreement, or remember that I've gotten copies of stuff, then I can't journal entry it in. And then we're missing.
And it is hard. It was the same thing with me. I didn't have the full concept of what was going on because it just kept going each year, and I'm like, how are we involved with this? And
Well, and I talked to Christie the other day, fraud, and I talked to our auditor, fraud, counties get hit or governments get hit every 3 minutes for fraud things. And my wife works in an accounting department, and they got hit by a third party. It wasn't even their normal, the people that they pay the bill to. It was somebody broke into their system. And that's what I say. I'm very cautious of not having contracts or agreements that protects the county in the long run.
Now, was this originally signed in December of 2019? Because I'm seeing it stating
That
that's
was
already.
that was amended in 19 because some people had changed. So-
Christie, do you remember how many years
We've been doing this?
been doing this?
Probably
But-
15.
But do we have something lodged that we have a signed MOU back from 2019?
I would have to look.
Yeah,
Sure,
they have a signed one
files.
from 19, and then, but there was one earlier than that we have signed too.
We have been doing this for quite a while. The program's changed a little bit, but
I think the 19 one was Commissioner Moser's, and I'd have to look at the other one, the earlier one. But then that's the thing though, that's a 19, and now here we are in 23, running off the same MOU.
Honestly, I'd like to have Brian look through this a little bit more and see the information. And even if we are the only county signing, we're signing with Franklin County, an agreement.
So we're the only ones that signed the MOU. Nobody else did last year.
Which if we do it, that's okay, because that's our record of.
So that's what I do, is
With it.
I'm holding off until I have, whether they want to do that or not, I hold off till I have commission approval, whether it's us just signing this and we give you the information. I was trying to get that I have approval before we move
Right.
forward for the year.
I appreciate that.
And then, like I said, I know we had was it BLM or the Forest Service last year or the year before that we talked about not signing a contract with?
I think it's Forest Service. Because there's,
And that's what I'm wondering, is if this MOU, because you said that we got to be committed with the counties around us and the BLM, do we have to be committed with the Forest Service? Okay, I don't want us committed
No,
in
so-
areas that we should be.
that's why I
committed.
added that other one, because whether they put it out to us or not, Franklin County and the CWMA, that bigger part after the MOU, that's what they're putting together to try to get approved. So I wanted that information. That's where you see where Bannock County's in there for 60, and so they throw them numbers in there to see if they can get approved for that. But they do it there and no one else.
No one else signed on.
It's only between the applicant and
Yeah. But the MOU,
the MOU. To me, should be not just a foregoing throughout until somebody wants to change something. I mean, they do that just for ease, but
yeah.
that's where we're pushing on them, and we did last year, and we've been talking to them this year, is we would rather see something that comes to each commission every year and says, this is what we're planning, and where's your approval on that?
Because this MOU, I'm looking at it, shows it would expire December 31st, 2025.
Mhm.
So would you
So
want
they're
that
just,
changed
they're
to,
just
like,
going off
every
of
year
that.
they
We
come up?
signed it then, and so we're good till 25, so why are we signing it again? But I guess that was my question, bringing it before the commission, is for the knowledge that we are out there till 25, but then I don't know how that works, because each year it's gonna be different funds, different money.
Well, I'd still like this to go back to Brian and him come back with a recommendation.
Yep, I agree.
Okay?
Okay.
Perfect, thank you. And last, talking about McCammon landfill and the solid waste free days. So we went down, looked at the site. Let's see. I added, I know you've seen that information before, but I added where we were at with how many days that, or how many people per year go on Wednesdays and Saturdays. It's hard to justify any of them, but Wednesdays are even worse when you get 10 people and some of them could be delivering recyclables or something. So where I'm at, and we'll hear how Dylan feels on it, but where I'm at with the McCammon landfill is I would like to, we usually start only starting in June, and we go to October working Wednesdays and Saturdays. And the rest of the year, we're only open Saturdays. I'd like to request to not open on Wednesdays and try that and just be open on Saturdays, see if that benefits us on that. Other parts to that is from looking at what we lose each year for that facility, and it pulls a lot of our resources that direction. I would recommend that we start in the process of putting that out there, public comment, get some of that, see where we.
Welcome to the title, buddy.
Yeah. Where we go that way, and be looking at seriously closing it for now. Come first of FY24, our fiscal year of October 1st.
Kyle spoke with me the other day about this, and I'm in favor of that plan, and I think we should really move towards that closure date of October 1. That gives them the summer to prepare and go, and we don't completely take it away, so we don't have a deluge of angry people, but that gives them time to work something out. So I'm in favor of going that direction.
Comment, John?
Nope.
Okay. Dylan?
No,
Honestly, let's hear what you think. You've been up here a little bit, you've seen how it takes people away. You've stepped into some new shoes. I want to hear from you.
no, I agree with him. I think that it is a tremendous drain on resources for not a lot coming back to us. I know that we're public servants, but I think that our resources could be better used and be more efficiently used here in town. rather than trying to steal away for a Wednesday and a Saturday. You know, I've had somebody call in sick yesterday and had to kind of reformat our entire day, change what we were doing just so we could try and get these cans picked up and emptied and ready for this Saturday again. So if you throw a Wednesday on top of that, it would make it even more difficult for us to try and keep up with things. So I agree.
Okay. And I do too. I think that to start off with, we cut out Wednesdays and make that effective the first of the month or whatever.
Would you get in contact with Emma and get her to broadcast that
Yeah,
out?
that
for you?
was my goal with, when I got a decision, is where you've got to do some of outreach and posting signs and a lot of stuff to get that out there the best we can, so we don't have people sitting at the gate come June 1st on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'd be putting that out quite a bit right now.
And then I think that we do take some public comment and see what happens about shutting down on Saturdays, the first of the budget year, and justify what's going on. Because we also have to talk about the reclamation and stuff of that too. And there's more than just shutting it down.
So kind of go through with them and stuff and kind of start getting the public comment of that, and then set up a meeting with commission later on before October to discuss it again.
Yeah.
Yes,
Her,
a month before that, at
Okay.
least.
her social media stuff has been working well for planning and zoning, so
Okay.
she should be able to give you some
Sometime end of
comments.
August.
And then I would say that effective immediately, all 3 dump days are at the landfill.
Okay, that was the second part of this.
I
Is,
see that. I just,
do you want to do that? When's our first free day?
13th, and that one is actually in Pocatello.
Okay,
Pocatello and
so we
McCann.
still have time to, do you want
Emma
to
can
make
put
that
that out.
effective?
get with Emma.
One other question I have is, do you agree with adding 1 free day to Pocatello, or just stay with the 2?
So there's 3 free dump days in Bannock County.
So
On
there's,
all 3 of them, everybody has to bring their materials to the landfill.
Pocatello.
That's what we talked about last time.
yes.
And that's,
And that would make up for, also for, we're not traveling to each one of these small cities. We're actually giving the county one more extra day of dumping
it's Bannock County's free dump days.
at
And
the Bannock Fort Hall Mine landfill.
yes, yes. And I was on the phone last week with a guy, because we're not giving the free tickets for the,
The fire,
yeah,
firewood, fire
fire.
permits.
And,
That's another one that we pulled out that I could not see any of your signatures on anything, so.
and that's what I told the gentleman. He wasn't happy when he got off the phone with me. Says there'll be consequences. But we spend a lot of money on that landfill. And the regulations on it are not like they used to be. So I think that we have to be accountable to the county in the long run. I mean, that's the way I feel.
Agreed.
You'd mentioned before about doing it on midday, midsummer.
And I'd look for your guidance. You're running that facility. You tell us. So, give us your counsel. Not right now, but
Pick a day. Right now.
but look at it and see kind of what you feel. And we're all going to get feedback in the next little bit. And we take that feedback and make that other decision.
So that will be another part, is we'll get that put out immediately on the free day stuff too.
And what I would like you to do is actually write it up so that we have a paper that we could
From me?
make a vote on Tuesday, work together, shut down the landfill, what your thoughts are.
Okay.
Like next Tuesday, we could sign a,
Similar to what I had as my email with this.
yeah,
Okay.
so that
Okay.
it's an official vote. People can see that it's on the agenda, what we're talking about and stuff.
Can I use your seal on that?
Talk to him.
With the clerk's signature.
I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him on my header.
Okay,
Hey, thank you very much.
thanks, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
And Kathy.
All right, looks like Nancy. Pick up my paper somewhere.
Commissioners, before you is just a notice of intent to apply seeking permission to apply for a trail scanner for the sheriff's office, which is a 3D camera for crime scenes. There will be no match on it, and there is a company that is willing to help write the grant, and then we apply. So not a whole lot, we're not out much, and Captain Augerson, this was something he would like to purchase sometime before he leaves, so.
Comments?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we authorize grant application and signature. Do we need an electronic signature on this one?
Likely, I haven't looked into electronics.
And authorize electronic signature if available.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Let's go ahead and approve the minutes for April 18th, 20th, 24th, 25th, and 27th.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Ryan.
Yay. Okay. Ryan Belknap, HR Director. So I've got two things on the agenda. First would be the updates to the personnel policy. And I submitted a memorandum attached to this request. It's got 4 pages. And in there, I kind of formatted this one just a little differently, hoping that it can help with efficiency. Where I have 8 edits highlighted, and these edits are okay. Our personnel policy, we did a major change. I recommended a major change back in back in September, and then since then I've made some edits to that, and that's what these edits highlight. Okay, so if you don't mind, I'd like to just go one by one.
Okay.
Okay. So edit number 1 is for section 7. When I originally submitted it, it was saying it was employee discipline, and I replaced the word discipline with corrective action throughout that section. And the reason for that, it could go either way really and have the same impact really, but as far as my personal preference, I would want corrective action because discipline often refers to like you're in trouble and there's a punishment, where I would like the direction of our actions when we see something wrong is more of a corrective approach and less of a punitive. And it's just a preference, semantics, but that's the first one.
What page?
The very first page of this memorandum.
139 in your packet.
139.
I'm sorry?
In your packet, I think it's page 139.
So I just wanted your thoughts
Okay, hold
on that.
a second. Let me find this thing.
I'm good with that.
I've highlighted the places that are changing.
Well, I am not finding
It
this
should
for
be
some
up ahead of
reason.
that, because I dropped down to the minutes and went through them, so it should be ahead of the minutes. It was just ahead of that.
Is this it, or, no? I don't, I must have the wrong,
No, that isn't.
the wrong thing here.
I could give you this one and look off mine.
If you don't mind, that's great, thank you.
Okay. Let me pull it up on my screen. See that, where I have the highlights?
Yeah, on page 1, right?
Yeah,
First
you guys,
page,
are
okay.
you all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So edit number 2, this is part of the section where it talks about if anyone has an objection to a hiring practice. The original submission I made was to bring that objection to legal counsel, and I changed it to be human resources and legal counsel, so I help take some of the load off legal counsel's plate for those. It's kind of
So I actually had a question on that one there.
okay.
All objections are, is it either or one of, or all of the above?
I would say either or. I mean, we work together.
Well, I'm just saying up here, you have the elected officials, office of department head or supervisor. Do they report to the supervisor and the elected official? The way it reads, you have to go to every one of them.
Okay.
That's the way I took it.
And I would say, if you were in the middle of a recruitment, one of the applicants has an objection, I think that objection can go, they can make a complaint to anyone.
To one of the following.
Yeah, one of the following.
Is what, I mean, that,
Okay, so I can make a change to say
it just,
that.
as I read through that and stuff, it just looked like.
Good point, and this was template language, but that's a good catch. So I'll make that change to one of the following. Excuse me, I'm gonna write a little note.
That's
Ernie, can we take a break for 2 minutes?